Hello and welcome to this episode of my podcast. Hi, I'm Caris, Coach Caris, as I'm affectionately known. I don't know if I'm affectionately known, actually. I just made up the name Coach Caris. I thought it was quite good when I was starting out. Anyway, welcome to this episode of Coach Caris's podcast, Itchy, Bitchy and Guests. So today, this is possibly going to be my most honest podcast. I am an honest person, right? And if you've listened to my podcast and follow me, I do try my very hardest to tell the truth, good and bad. Because I think we actually need to understand that real life can sometimes be a bit shit. And it just does my nut in when there's people out there going on about how amazing life is all the time, when let's face it, right, it's not. Sometimes it can be shit. So today, I am going to speak about how I actually feel about my body after losing 28 pounds in the perimeno. Because I have done a post about it, right? So the post was basically me saying, there was a video of me with my bra and my shorts on saying I'd lost 26 pounds at that point. I've lost 26 pounds of perimenopause weight gain, fat gain, whatever you want to call it, all right? Gaining fat around the time of midlife, right? And that you'd think I would be ecstatic, because before I went on to this, I was totally convinced I would be bloody ecstatic. However, it has thrown up some things that I have to give myself time to get used to. Some random things, like probably the most random is my armpits. Right, now, I'm not expecting everybody to actually love their armpits. I mean, do you actually ever look at your armpits and think, oh my God, I actually love you? Or, oh my God, my armpits, I don't like them. They're just like that one of those things that you don't actually really think about. I mean, they're just there. Yeah. Yeah, it's not necessarily just the armpits. It's actually when I run the razor under them. So before, when I was a wee bit chubbier, my armpits were a bit like, they were a bit solid. So, solid isn't the right word. So if you lift your arm, I'm doing this by the way, if you can see me on YouTube, right, there's like, in between the muscles and the tendons and the bones and stuff, used to be quite flat, and I used to be able to just wing the razor over it, and it used to take me like 2 seconds. But now they've went like any armpits, they're in a bit. So getting the razor on them, and like there's nooks and crannies now. It's just weird. Anyway, I don't not like them. It's just weird. It's just different. And if somebody had said to me, "Oh, it'll be really hard to shave your under your arms when you've lost weight," I would have been like, what the fuck? But yeah, it's an actual thing. Anyway, sorry, I'll try and tell you more useful information than that. Right, so I've lost 28 pounds, right? So I gained 28 pounds in the perimeno. Now, yous all know by now, because yous all follow me, and I say this all the time, there is no direct correlation between the menopause and fat gain, all right? So the menopause and the perimenopause do not directly cause fat gain. However, there's always a however, right? Your lifestyle around this time may cause you to gain body fat, right? And that is exactly what happened to me. First of all, and I've said this before as well, I was absolutely fucking traumatised when I found out that the perimenopause didn't cause fat gain, which basically meant I had to man up or girl up, whatever you want to say, and accept that the only reason that I'd gained 2 stone pretty much around the time of the perimenopause was because of me. Right, and with hindsight, I'll happily admit that. I didn't admit it at the time. I totally rallied against it and had a total tantrum. But yeah, I did move less. I exercised less, and I ate more of the wrong foods. Too much. I had no portion control whatsoever. I was effectively living on sugar and coffee, which is obviously not very good. So I was eating in a calorie surplus, which is why I gained 2 stone of body fat. Anyway, right, here goes. Right, I'm going to be honest, all right, it's just me today, no guests, although I do have some guests coming on next week, very exciting. Anyway, it's just me, right, I'm going to be honest, because as I've said before, all right, I have lost 28 pounds in the last year, 57 weeks to be precise, it's taken me, all right. That's another thing as well. If you're going to lose fat, right, in midlife, you can absolutely do it, but you need to practice patience and you need to give yourself some time, right? So, 26 pounds in however many weeks, 57 weeks or whatever, you're effectively speaking about half a pound a week, right? Now, people, women especially, right, we're an absolute fucking nightmare. And we think that because we've gained 2 stone over 2 years, that we're just going to lose that 2 stone in like 3 months. And then we get totally scunnered and totally pissed off when we didn't manage to do it. So just a by the by and a bit of free advice, right? Go for half a pound a week. Absolutely half a pound a week. Definitely, definitely. All right? I promise you, it'll be worth it. And every time you get a wee bit scunnered that you've only lost half a pound, think about how you would feel if you were actually putting that half a pound on. Alright, you would be well pissed off. Half a pound is average. It's absolutely brilliant. Alright? So anyway, lost 28 pounds. 28 pounds in the last 57 weeks or whatever, alright? So there's obviously a lot of good things came out of it, right? I am stronger. So yes, I have managed to drop body fat and keep most of my strength, all right, most of my strength by lifting weights and doing strength sessions, etc., etc. All right, I would say the only thing I have lost strength wise is my deadlifts. I've got a wee bit shitter, but I don't really care. I'm okay with that. Everything else is I am stronger. All right, so I am leaner. I am stronger. I'm obviously healthier. Obviously healthier because carrying extra body weight is not healthy, all right? So I am healthier. Probably the strong, well, not probably. I am the strongest and the leanest and the healthiest that I've been in years, probably in all of my life, which at 51 years old does two things. The first thing is I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually 51 year old and I'm the fittest and leanest and strongest that I've ever been. I am fucking amazing. And then on the other hand, I'm like, I'm stronger and leaner and healthier than I've ever been at 51 year old. What the fuck was I doing for the other 50 fucking years of my life? I was just dicking about, smoking, drinking, getting steaming. Right? And that annoys me. Anyway, do you know, I am where I am, exactly. So, I didn't expect to have so many thoughts about my own body image. And there's also a bit of pressure now to keep it on, right? I have been skinny and fat throughout my life in various degrees of skinniness and fatness. All right. To be fair, I've only been what I would call myself skinny once, and that was when I was about 30. I was in a shitty marriage. I took up running, and I was running. I could go out and knock out a half marathon, no bother. Like, I'm not being a dick. I literally could just go out for a run and right. But I used to do it as a punishment. So I used to do it as a punishment to the wine, to all the wine that I was drinking, and I was drinking all the wine because my relationship was so shit. And instead of instead of sorting my relationship out, like why would I do that? Just decided that I would self-medicate with wine and running. So I was thin. I think I was about 10 stone, 13, whatever. I don't even know what that is. What's that? 140, 153 pounds. So not far off where I am just now. I'm 148 at the minute, 153 pounds, all right. But I was really skinny. Like, because I was running, I had no muscle tone, no strength or whatever, right? And I looked quite ill, to be fair. But anyway, all right, so there is a bit of a pressure to keep the weight off now, or to do the next phase if I decide to go at it again for fat loss, or eat some extra calories and pack some strength on. Anyway, I don't really have an issue with body image, right? I never really have, even though I've never been particularly happy. I've always felt that I've managed to dress in a way that showed off my good points and hid my bad points. Do you know, that's pish. I just used to wear black. That's that's shit. I'm making that up. Anyway, right, I obviously have had some issues about body image, but I certainly never thought I would have them when I went into this a year ago. I never thought that it would bring up any body image issues because I thought, yeah, I'm quite cool, I'm quite comfortable with who I am, and I am very comfortable with who I am, or I have been for the last 2 to 3 years. Well, pretty much since I hit the perimenopause and employed the I give zero fucks attitude. Most of the time I do feel like that, but there is things that have popped up about my body image, right? So Um, I've got I can stand in front of the mirror as well and pull myself apart, just like you do, right? And I say to my clients all the time, don't do that. Don't do that. I want you to stand in front of the mirror. I want you to get naked, stand in front of the mirror, and I want you to focus on the nice things. And if the only nice thing you can see at the start when you first do that is your smile, then that's okay, all right? But you need to keep doing it and get used to it. So, um, I still have, yeah, I can still. I try not to be fair, but I think it's quite normal, especially for us women, right? So anyway, I've still got love handles. Now, I don't really know what I thought about. Now, I was, as well as losing body fat, right, I was absolutely determined that I was going to keep my strength and I was going to build some muscle, right? And I have done that. We've all got muscle, by the way. It just sometimes, most of the time, it just hides under a layer of body fat. All right, so I have done that. I've still got love handles. When you look at me, like front on, my hips have still got two dips in them, right? And do you know what? That's okay. I'm actually okay with that. And I don't know whether I think I maybe thought they would just disappear. Like, I wasn't that ridiculous that I thought, oh my God, I'm totally going to lose 28 pounds and I'm going to have a six pack, right? I knew that that wasn't going to happen. But I did think that things like my love handles and my two tummies, I've got a top tummy and a bottom tummy, I always have done. I've still got my two tummies. Yes, they're smaller. Absolutely, of course they are. But I've still got two tummies. So I have to get used to that because unless I'm going to go on a severe fat loss diet and get a six pack, I'm always going to have two tummies. And then I might even still have them. So I have to get used to that, all right? Anyway, armpits. I'm not going to say anything more about my armpits, you know, because I feel that that's just a bit weird. But there you go. That's what I found out about my armpits. And I feel that my arse is a bit saggy. Right now, I do squat, obviously, because I lift weights and I do CrossFit, but I just feel that my bum cheeks are a bit not pert, right? And that's maybe an age thing. Probably is an age thing. I mean, is it possible to get pert arse at 51? Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe I just need to squat heavier and do it more often. Anyway, I've got saggy bum cheeks, and I'm a bit like, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting. Oh, my friend, by the way, Emma, my favourite CrossFit person ever in the whole world, she actually gave me Bum Bum. Do you know that Brazilian Bum Bum cream for my birthday last year? Obviously, it's just not for your bum bum. Actually, I don't even think I put it on my bum bum. Maybe that's where I went wrong. Oh, anyway, Brazilian Bum Bum cream. It's lovely, by the way. I use Soap and Glory, right? That's pretty much what I use. I love it. I love it all. I love all the Soap and Glories. Anyway, I branched out and went wild because my friend bought me a Brazilian Bum Bum cream. It's very nice, actually. It's not just for bum bums, though. Anyway, I must squat more, see if I can get a perturbed arse. I'm speaking about naked, by the way, right? So looking at yourself in the mirror naked. Don't actually mind my arse when it's clothed, to be fair. But, you know, I'm being honest here. I'm being honest. So there's also random other things that I found that I liked that I had no idea that I would actually like them. Right, I quite like my knees, which I think is also a bit weird. So they've got a bit less fat on them, and they've got wee dimples now at the side of my kneecaps, which I never used to have when I tense my legs, so I can see the tendon from my kneecap up the front of my quad. So I quite like that. That is a bit weird though, because I never thought for 1 minute that I would have knees that I would like. Anyway, I've also got bony shoulders, which I also quite like. So when I press my shoulders now, I can feel bone. Whereas before I could just feel, well, I suppose a layer of body fat, I suppose. So yeah, I quite like them. I like my guns. Yeah, they're not gigantic guns, but I do quite like them. I like my shoulders, the deltoids. Do you know that bit that goes over your shoulders? I quite like them. Oh, another thing. Sorry, and the I don't like. So I've got two columns. I've got body likes, and I've got not so much. So also in the not so much column is face wrinkles and the crease between my eyebrows. Now that has always been there, right? And I think considering I am such a smiley person, I have massive frown lines. I don't know why. Yeah, so this bit here. Right, so if I was ever going to get Botox, I'm not going to get Botox, by the way. I used to want Botox when I was younger, but I was at the I've always been a very all in or all out kind of gal, right? Which I now know is just an excuse. You're just giving yourself an excuse to not even try. All right, but when I was younger, when I was about maybe 30, 40, I was an all in or all out. So I was either all over it, like with the running, etc. Obsessively so, or I just wasn't giving a fuck. So anyway, I always said if I was going to get Botox, I would have the Botox in between my eyebrows, like where my that frown line is. But then somebody told me that they wouldn't just do it there and they would do my forehead, and then somebody else told me that it was totally addictive. So I just haven't, I never got it, and I never will now. I'll just learn to love my frown lines. Anyway, so obviously, right, there is a saying in the nutrition and fitness industry, which I think I learned from doing slimming clubs when I was younger, and it's you can have your face or your figure. So there is obviously if you when you lose body fat, you lose it everywhere, right? You don't actually get to control where you lose the body fat from. But if you're losing body fat from everywhere, you're going to lose it from your face as well. Of course you are. So I've got like more wrinkles now, I would say. And a couple of people have said to me, "You're looking very well, but could you please stop now?" Right? And then on one hand, I'm like, fuck you. Do you know, you've got no right to say that to me. Like, who the fuck are you to say that to me? I've worked fucking hard at doing this. I've been in a total calorie deficit. I've sorted all my habits out. My life is not chaos. And I've worked really hard. So just because I've got a few extra wrinkles and I look a wee bit skinnier than I did before, you've got no right to say that. But on the other hand, do you know, they are saying it out of love and stuff. And I don't know, I'm trying to think who said it to me and whether they know. I'm not going to get obsessed about it, but yeah. Anyway, you can have your face or your figure. So if your figure is going to carry less fat, your face is going to carry less fat. So of course you're going to look different. I have got more lines round about my mouth now, but also, do you know, I might have them anyway because I'm getting older. 52 in July. What the fuck? Anyway, it does kind of annoy me sometimes because people are like, "Oh, you've done really well, you're looking amazing." Right, just fucking stop there. That's all you need to say. You don't actually need to go on and say, "Okay, but could you just not lose any more fat because you're looking a bit whatever, skinny." Fuck off. Anyway, right, sorry, that was anyway, right. Right, my next thing, I wrote this down, I wrote a wee list, right, and I wrote this and then I was like, do I? Right, so most of my clothes are now a size 10, right? I have never been a size 10 in my life. And when I say this, I mean from Next, right? Most of my clothes are from Next. I love Next. I've always been able to walk into Next, pick something up, whatever size I was, not even try it on, take it home and know it would fit me, right? Now, I've been an 18, a 16, a 14, a 12, right? And I'm now a 10. So whatever size I was, I could walk into Next, pick something and take it away with me and I know that it would fit, right? So most of my clothes are a size 10 out of Next, right? Like my dressy clothes, not my gym clothes or whatever, all right? Now, I love being a size 10. This is what I wrote, right? I love being a size 10. And most of my gym gear, the newer gym gear that I've bought, is a small. So the trousers are a small, the leggings are a small, shorts are a small. And I've also bought a couple of crop top bra tops, right? Which I have never done before. Most of them are a small as well, right? And I've written, I love being a size 10 or a size small, right? That's actually not true. What I love is not being a 14 to a 16. I don't actually care. I have put a lot of thought into this, by the way. I don't actually care that it's a size 10, to be fair. And I was happy cheesing, actually, skipping into Next and picking up a size 12. That also made me very happy. So it's not necessarily the size that I am, it's just that I'm not the size that I was. Does that make sense? I hope I've explained that well. And I think because I've been up as far as a size 18, the size 18, that was a long time ago, by the way. That was, I must have been maybe 35-ish, maybe, so 15, 16 years ago. Just at the height of the bad marriage and the wine and the running. I'd obviously stopped by that point. The running, that is, not the wine. Anyway, so I do love it. I love, yeah. I do love it, and I wouldn't change it. I don't want to go back to, I don't want to put that weight back on. That's pretty much what I'm saying. I like the fact that I am a bit slimmer, skinnier, thinner, whatever you want to call it, than I was before. I like the fact that I was going to say, I like the fact that I can walk into a shop and just pick up a size 10. I actually don't. I generally go and pick up a 14 or a 12 because my brain's not caught up with where my body is yet. But yeah, I do. I also like, The next one is in the body likes and the not so much likes, and it's boobies, right? I'm now in the itty bitty titty department, all right? They have well shrunk. So I've went from overall a 38 double D to a 32C. I think one of my bras is actually a 32B. Right, so obviously I've lost body fat across my back as well, because I've went from a 38 to 36 to 34 to 32, which is actually quite narrow. But my actual boobs, my cup size, have went from a double whatever, E, F, whatever, down to a B or a C now, right? So I actually, when I put my clothes on, sometimes I'm like, I totally like having no boobs, right? It used to be the case that the only way I could get into a top was to actually fucking hack my tits off. So I have a lot of dresses and a lot of shirts that I used to wear when I was younger that I could only button them up to under my boobs, and I would need to wear a vest over them, because if I bought a dress that would fit my boobs, it was hanging off me everywhere else. Anyway, my boobs have totally shrunk. So I do quite like having little boobies in some cases. Like if I buy a dress now, I can button it all the way up, or I can zip it all the way up. And it usually fits my hips and my boobs. So I'm obviously more in proportion now than I've ever been, which is totally cool. But also, on the other hand, I was lying in the bath. I'll try not to get too graphic, all right? I was lying in the bath. Obviously, I was naked, right? And Cal always used to call my boobs floobs, right? So they were like floating boobs or fat boobs, either or, right? They were called floobs. Anyway, but now they don't float. They're just wrinkly. And again, I don't know how I feel about that neither. If I had boobs these size 30 years ago, when they were nice and pert and full, I'd probably love this size. But it's just the fact that you get older, and you've got more wrinkles. And obviously the fat has all disappeared out my boobs. So now they're not really floobs. They're not really floating boobs. They're just wrinkly boobs. Rubes. Don't even know what I'd call that. Cal's quite good at word smashing. I'm not the best at that. Anyway, so I'm undecided about my boobs. I've got there's two camps. I like them when I'm dressed. Yes, that's a good way to put it. I like them when I'm dressed. When I've got my bra on, I like them. Not so much when I'm naked. But hey, just got to stick with it. Right, so not body composition, like looking in the mirror, all right? I am in the world of CrossFit and at the gym and stuff, right? I do have more energy. I am faster in the workouts and stuff, like 100% definitely. Everything does feel a bit easier, and I think that's a very true thing to say about any fat loss, right? Everything that you do, if you're 2 stone overweight, 3 stone, 4 stone, 5 stone, 6 stone, right? Everything feels a bit easier the lighter you are, and I think that's got to be, I was going to say science, physics, the law, I don't know, right? But that's something. Everything is always going to feel a bit easier when you're not carrying so much excess weight, I think. So, yeah. So I do have more energy, but the energy thing has been a slow process. I had zero energy, and I would even go as far as to say I had fatigue when I was at the height of the perimeno. It was horrific. My HRT wasn't sorted out. I wasn't sleeping properly. And I literally did just want to sit on the couch. It was an absolute effort. Jasper got less walks. He got shorter walks. I certainly never took my bike to the gym. My training was sketchy at best, non-existent at worst. So I do have more energy. I just want to train. Cal went to the gym last night. He went to Pure Gym last night, and he was like, "You coming?" And I was like, "Well, I've trained already today." But yeah, okay. So off I went and toodled off and did a few bits and bobs. Nothing major. But yeah, I've definitely got more energy. But the whole point of this, right? Sorry, the whole point of this, of me being this honest about the fat loss, right, is not to put you off. If you want to drop body fat and change your body composition in midlife, right, fucking go for it. It will make you feel amazing. And overall, I generally do feel amazing. I love what I've done. I've never actually been this determined, I don't think, about most things in my life. I was so focused, and I certainly would never have hit a goal within a year. I would never have took a year. I would have got bored. So if you're midlife, right, and you've packed some weight on around about the time of the perimenopause, and you believe that you can't reverse it, right, you can. You absolutely 100% can. So go for it, all right? But what I want you to remember is that fat loss, it doesn't fix everything, all right? like your life won't all of a sudden become amazing just because you've lost body fat, all right? Which is why I do encourage my clients to start living the minute that they start working with me, all right? We learn how to navigate holidays while you're losing fat. We learn how to still say yes to every social occasion. We practice portion control. We generally live life and focus on the positives in our body now, not the positives that you think that you're going to feel 8 months down the line or 2 stone lighter down the line. All right, it does not. Fat loss does not fix everything. Life does not start when the scale says the weight that you want it to say, right, or the dress size is the size that you want to be. Life is now. So weight loss doesn't fix everything. All right, it brings up its own issues, whether they're body image or your identity, or if you feel pressured to keep the fat loss off, all right? The other thing you need to remember is that people will potentially see you differently, right? People will, well, for some reason, people think that they can comment on how much effort and congratulate you on how much effort that you've put in and give you that with one hand and instantly take it away with, but please don't do any more. Don't go any skinnier. Don't go any lighter. Don't get any stronger. Don't pack any more muscle on. Don't look any more ripped, right? So you need to be able as well, you need to be able to deal with people's opinions. People are always going to say what they think, whether they've got a right to or not, all right? There is a thing called tact, or there is a thing saying if you've got nothing positive to say, don't say anything at all, all right? But which is fucking hilarious coming from me, because that's not me. But so you just need to get comfortable. People will give you their opinions and you just need to let them wash over you, all right? Nobody's opinion is wrong. That doesn't mean everybody's opinion is right, but nobody's opinion is wrong because it's subjective and it's what these people think, and that's totally cool. But you need to be able to deal with that. So have a think about that as well, all right? Also, the next thing that I'm having a bit of a drama about is navigating maintenance, right? Now, I have always said this, always, right, that eating maintenance calories and maintaining your weight is far harder than dieting, right? I still say that. I think I will always say that and I will always believe it, all right? Because this is what happens. You get to your scale weight, you get to your goal weight, and then you're like, oh, well, I've completed dieting, fuck this. And you just turn into an actual fucking arsehole and start eating 5 Freddos, and you make your portions bigger, you take a week off at MyFitnessPal, you stop tracking, because, you know, why do you need MyFitnessPal? Why do you? Why, you fucking completed dieting. Do you know, and you just turn into a bit arrogant. And by the way, I totally did that. So I got to my goal weight, 148 pounds I got to be fair, on the 8th of June, right? And what did I do for the week after that? Correct, I turned into an absolute fucking dick. That's exactly what I did. Why? Because I'd completed it. Absolutely completed dieting. Whereas in fact, that is not the way to go. So what we try and do is get you back up to maintenance slowly. So I would add on like an extra 150 calories a week for my clients, all right? But we still keep tracking, we still do the check-ins, because if you're going to turn into a dick, this is the time that you're going to do it. So there are fears about gaining the weight. Now, like I said, I have been fat and skinny throughout my life, all right? This is different. This time it feels different because I've done it in a controlled manner and I've done it alongside lifting weights and strength, all right? So I don't actually believe that I'm going to gain body fat again. However, I was down to about 176 pounds before I hit the perimenopause, right? And I vowed, before I knew I was perimenopausal, that I was never going to get back up to 190, 203, I think was my heaviest. And what happened? I did, because I fucking got whacked by the perimenopause and I had no idea what was happening. So I'm not going to say never, but sometimes our brain, we revert back to old habits, partly because we think we've completed dieting, right? So we just turn into, like I said, an absolute dick. But also anxiety plays a part as well. So we want to revert to what used to make us feel comfortable, whereas now we sometimes don't feel. So I don't feel particularly comfortable now, right? I've been out. If you follow me in the socials, you'll have seen my bra tops, all right? I've been out running a couple of times in them. I've been in the gym once without my vest on, so just like a crop top and a pair of shorts, right? And it doesn't make me feel particularly comfortable, but that's why I'm doing it, to prove to my clients that I ask them to do things that make them feel uncomfortable, and I will do that as well. But yeah, it does make you a bit anxious. So eating at maintenance, I think, is difficult, all right, because there will become a time when I need to step away from my fitness pal. I need to live my life without my fitness pal, and for most of the time, most human beings, right, we eat the same things day in, day out, all right, and I understand especially that if you go rogue or if you go off piste for a couple of days, it's not the end of the world, but you need to get back on it, and it's the getting back on it that's the hard thing, all right. So for the rest of my life, I will have my fitness pal and I will track my food and weigh my food and measure my food at certain points throughout my life. I won't do it forever. I won't do it every day. I won't do it every week for the rest of my life, but there will be periods in my life that I will use my fitness pal to make sure that my weight or my body composition or whatever, or my nutrition, or if I'm eating for just for health and fitness and to support the training that I'm doing, then that's what I need to do. And I've accepted that. But until I get to maintenance, and I've tried that for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, it makes me a bit nervous. So, all right. Calories went up yesterday, by the way. So at the lowest when I was in my deficit, I was on 1400. I then went up to 1800 for a couple of weeks. I went up to 2025 today. So I've already got enough calories for my extra Freddo. So I've got my 2 Freddos, lunchtime and tea time Freddos, which I love. So I've started making my portions a little bit bigger now. So my breakfast oats are back up to like 40 grams of oats instead of 25. And then eventually I'll get up to like 50 grams and stuff. So bigger portions is the easiest thing to do when you're trying to increase your calories. You don't need to add in like 3 extra meals or whatever. Just increase your portions. So that's what I'm trying to do. All right. But yeah, body image. I've spoken about body image. At no point ever did I think when I first started this that I would have body image thoughts. I was going to say issues. I think that's a bit strong, but I didn't think that I would look at my body and think, oh, I still don't like that, or yeah, that's a bit weird. I still catch a sight of me in the mirror and I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. So yeah, my brain will catch up eventually. So I suppose I'm grieving the old version of me slightly, all right, but I'm also celebrating the new version of me, and I am enjoying it. And overall, it was absolutely worth it. It was 100% worth it. Of course it was. Absolutely. I'm fitter, I'm stronger, I'm healthier, I'm faster. I would say I was funnier, but I think I've always been quite funny, to be fair. Anyway, this is all part of change. So change makes us feel uncomfortable. Change can cause us anxiety, right? And it's not actually always the thing. It's the unknown. So I didn't know how my body would look. I didn't know how I would feel in my body. So it's the fear of that, and it does cause a bit of a panic, but you need to trust yourself that you're going to get used to it. Your brain's going to catch up. Your brain is going to catch up. Of course it is. Of course it is. I feel way different now, and I feel more comfortable in my body now than I did a fortnight ago, right? And that's only a fortnight, so you will get used to it. Yeah. Don't let it put you off. You should absolutely go for it if you want if you want fat loss, definitely too, right? So anyway, if you are on this journey, or if you're here as well, all right, and if you want midlife fat loss, I want you to know that it is possible, right? I haven't reinvented the wheel. I don't have a secret, all right? You all know I've got a coach, all right? Does exactly for me what I do for my clients. Gives them accountability, gives them support. That is pretty much it, all right? The calories that we work out is a formula, all right? It's not a secret formula. If anybody wants a formula, I'll give it to them, right? It's quite common, it's quite well known, all right? You can have that, it's not a problem. It's not necessarily the working out of the calories and the macros. It's the support, it's the accountability, it's knowing that you've got a wingman, it's knowing that you have to do a check-in every week, and you have to think about your week and reflect on your week, and you have to come up with a plan as if you're going to change. Is there anything you're going to change, or are you just going to repeat that week? So it's all things like that, right? That's why people have coaches, all right? That is why people have coaches. I know what I'm doing in fat loss, right? I still couldn't do it myself. I got down to 173 pounds from 186 on my own. So I lost effectively a stone on my own, right? It was a fucking doddle. And then I dicked about for about 3 months. I couldn't do it. I couldn't motivate myself to do it. I couldn't stick to my calories. I wasn't tracking everything on MyFitnessPal. I was being sporadic. I was super all over it Monday to Friday, and then I would absolutely fuck it at the weekend by partying and drinking wine, and then struggle to get back on it on the Monday, struggle to get back on it on the Tuesday. I wasn't training when I said I was going to train. That's what a coach does. A coach makes you do all that stuff. So if you've got a goal, you know what you need to do, all right? It's possible to lose fat in midlife. Of course it is, right? But just prepare yourself that it's not just a physical shift, right? That you'll feel emotions that you didn't think you would feel, all right? Your brain will sometimes feel like it's going to explode, but trying to remember what the end goal is will help, all right? It's also very messy at times. There were times in this last year that I have been absolute fucking chaos. Right, I've been hungry. I've been crabbit because I've been hungry. I've had no energy because I've been hungry. It's been brutal. Yet you still need to turn up every day and be nice to the people that you interact with. Bizarrely enough, I was actually less cunty in the diet than I was Mrs. Cunty in the menopause. So just be aware of that, all right? Whether you think you can lose body fat in midlife or whether you can't, right? You actually can. You're not broken, right? You are absolutely not broken. Midlife does not break you. It will if you let it, all right? But we're going to fight this together, all right? It's not, your metabolism isn't broken. Nothing is broken, all right? It's just the plan that you are trying to stick to at the moment is not the right one for midlife, all right? It's hard, it's difficult. We're battling perimenopause symptoms. We're battling fatigue. We're battling more stress. We're battling family life, along with trying to carve out enough time for you to be less chaotic so that you can sort your nutrition out, all right? It takes time. Give yourself some grace and get yourself some support. All right, I'm going to ask you to do me one favour, my lovelies. I'm going to ask you to share this, if you download it, and share it for me to anybody that you think it would help. That would be amazing. All right, if you're stuck for fat loss, if you're stuck for midlife, if you're stuck for the perimenopause, get a hold of me. All right, my chat is always free. Thank you, my lovelies. I will speak to you very soon. Bye-bye.